really want something, be willing to go into it fully. Because I feel like a lot of people going into business, especially me, I was really intimidating. And at the beginning, I didn't go in 100%. And that's like my regret is I wish I wasn't as like nervous, as scared, as intimidated. I wish I had gone in there like fully confident. Because I think as I've learned that throughout the years, that's been really what has brought me so much success in my mindset.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Ecom Life. My name is John Sanders. I'm the founder of Quadra. Today, I have a special guest. Her name is Tia Shabestari. She is the CEO of Mailbu Skyye. And she was just telling me today you broke through 6 figures while you're in college. That is so awesome.
Yeah. And
so we're super excited to hear about her journey today. And so, Tia, just to kick us off, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started.
Yeah. So, I'm 20 years old right now, currently a college student. And I started a business at 15 in my parents' basement, in a little tiny room. And I've always had a passion for fashion and clothing, and we decided I wanted to roll with that. And here we are.
Nice. And you were telling us you're going to be going to the New York Fashion Week?
Yes, just in September. I learned that I was invited to Fashion Week next March. So
nice. That is so exciting. Congratulations. Well, thanks for coming on.
Really excited.
Actually, I did a little research on you. You're kind of hard to find online. I was hoping to find some articles or something, but you're busy at school running your business.
Yeah.
You said you got started 15, right? Okay. So I didn't notice on your website, you had mentioned that, I don't know if haters is the right word, but there's some skeptics out there when you're getting started. I was curious, who are those skeptics? Well, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I feel like starting a business at 16, 15 is very, very unconventional. Like, I feel like people I was going to school with, just all of that, people really didn't think I was capable of running a successful business.
When you say people, who's that? Do you want to out anyone?
Just a lot of close friends I had and people I went to school with. And I not necessarily that I received a lot of hate through social media, but I think that was something that I was going through at that time and something I was trying to like work through being so young and like wanting to do something so big. Not many people really understand that. So that was something that was really difficult to go through from the start.
Yeah. So I just want to follow up on that. How did you find the motivation to push through that? Because, especially at 15, right? You kind of do what your friends want to do. How did you find the motivation and the autonomy to kind of go for it?
Yeah. What I did also, I decided at this point in my life, I was surrounded by people who were going to support me. So I ended up going online through the rest of my high school. This started junior year. I went fully online. I cut off pretty much everyone except for my family. I did not talk to anyone. I went completely silent for 6 months and built my business. And I came back and people were like, where did you go? Like, I don't.
So you were that dedicated. Where did that come from? Because we were talking earlier, your parents were an entrepreneur. So what was, I'm trying to get at, like, what made you that obsessed with doing a business that young that you'd get rid of all your friends and everything?
I've always known I've always felt like I've wanted to do something big, do something different and stand out. And I always have had like that motivation. And I've always looked up to people who've done such big things. Like my parents are really successful. And I think just seeing that, I knew I wanted to be successful. And when I want something, I will do whatever it takes for it to happen. I don't like just sitting there and like waiting for things to happen. Like if I want something, I just go and make it happen. So I think just knowing that I wanted to be successful, knowing I wanted to go into fashion and business is kind of what pushed me. Like just being able to like look up to people who are making millions, doing business in the fashion industry. Like I wanted to be that.
So from the jump where you were interested in fashion, where did that come from? Was there someone that inspired you when you were young?
Not necessarily someone that inspired me, but I was obsessed with collecting clothing. Like I just always wanted clothing. Like I was always obsessed with what I was wearing. I was always so interested in other people's clothes. So I think I started sewing with my grandma when I was young. And I think that kind of contributed too. And like making clothes, that always seemed like something I wanted to do. So.
Oh, really? That's really cool. So Mailbu Skyye, tell me a little, what's the background on that name? Where does it come from?
So I love the beach. I love warm places, and I know I want to center my business around that. So that to me just sounded like something that was beachy, that conveyed the vibe that I was going for. So that's brief history.
Yeah, cool. So tell me a little bit about how it all started. Okay, so you're into fashion, but what was it that made you just get started? Was there a certain type of clothing that you wanted to put out there? I guess my question is like, what was the hole you were trying to fill in the marketplace with your clothing line?
I wanted to have very colorful clothing. I've always been a very colorful person, and bringing clothes into the market that are unique, because I felt like everyone was wearing the same thing, and it was hard because trends kept going on, and I wanted to like bring something new. I'm like, I'm tired of this. I want something new. I want something colorful. I want something bright. I want New York style. I want that whole thing. So I think that was what I was going for when I decided to start.
Yeah, just some unique stuff.
Yeah.
So what did you start with? What was your first thing that you, so tell me the logistics, like the first thing the first items that you kind of stocked, but then what were the logistics? Did you get them from overseas, or were you making them yourselves? So
I actually, a few months before I started my business, my mom and I flew out to LA to go meet with vendors there and the fashion market downtown LA. We went down there. And my first few items, I remember I had a dress, skirt, like 2 skirts in 2 colors, and like a tank top. Like that was what started, and it sold out in a week.
Whoa.
So that sold out in a week. So, and I got pretty high numbers of it, like 20 of each piece. For starting, that was decently sized because I didn't know how it was going to do.
Oh my God.
So that's what kickstarted.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. What were you doing to get those sales? Were you just posting on social media?
Instagram.
Are you serious? Yeah. Just on your personal Instagram? Wow. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And so your mom put you to LA. That's pretty cool. So she believed in you as well then.
Yeah, she was pretty much the one who pushed me to do it. She's like, Tia, you love clothes. Like, you really should pursue this. And
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's cool. So what's it like? You know, you work with vendors now.
I do.
I'm guessing your mom's probably not involved. Or is she?
She isn't as involved. Like, she's there for support, but I do 100% of everything.
So what's it like dealing with some of these vendors as such a young person? Like, you're in high school.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It's definitely, they don't take you as seriously as you want to be taken. It's very hard. Vendors are very difficult to find, very, very difficult to find. So it took me about 2 years to find one that is steady, that I really like. So
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Very many phone calls, many emails, all of that. It's very, very difficult. But being able to look into all these vendors and spend so many months looking into it, I was glad I was able to find one.
Yeah.
That's a good relationship with.
That's cool. Yeah. I was reading on your website too that you said it took you a couple of years to launch your website. Was it your website or your business? I think it was your website.
Yeah.
Right? What can you kind of talk us through? Why did it take you so long? Did you want are you a perfectionist? You want everything perfect?
I am. So before I jumped into my business, before I did anything, I spent a good 8 to 9 months researching. I didn't want to just go start it. I wanted to make sure I was prepared because this is an investment, and I wanted to make sure I had a clear idea and everything I was doing was going to be perfectly how I wanted it. So it took me to obtain licenses, to the vendors, figure out my trip to LA, all of that. It took a very long time, and I wanted to make sure I was ready before.
During that time you're getting ready, did you ever get discouraged or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's definitely intimidating to start. I had followed a lot of businesses who are very successful, run by people in their 20s, 30s, 40s. And I feel like coming in so young, again, that's really hard. You're like, I'm so young. This isn't going to work out for me. And I feel like that was something I really struggled with. And yeah, I found a way to change my mindset in the way that I was looking up to these people and be like, yeah, I can't do that. And like, yeah, I can be successful like these people, even though I'm young. So yeah, just being able to change my mindset in the way that I saw myself as being successful and intended to be successful from the beginning. And I think that's kind of what took me far, is my mindset.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I mean, you're in business now. It's not a linear journey, right?
Definitely.
It's ups and downs, and
Definitely.
so I think a lot of people, and this is kudos to you. I think a lot of people jump off the train when things kind of go down.
Definitely.
Did you have a story like that where something went wrong, or um, you thought, well, I don't think I can do this anymore? Do you have a
Yeah.
specific story around that?
So I moved out to Texas for college, and I ended up moving into a 500 square foot apartment, moved my business there at peak. And that to me was really hard. And I remember packing orders in my kitchen on the counter, and there were clothes everywhere, boxes everywhere. You could barely walk. And I was like, this is not working. I don't know how I'm going to do this for the next 4 years. So I think that definitely was something I didn't know anyone in Texas. It was really hard. So having my business and being able to I wanted to put everything that I could into it. I fell into a really dark place there, and I wanted to invest that in my business, and that's when my business ended up taking off.
That's awesome. Yeah. We like to say around here, if you can just outlast the temporary pain of what you're going through, on the other side, there's, the reward of the hard work that you put into. And, again, I just commend you at such a young age to know that, because so many people go on this journey and then they aren't willing to outlast some of those bumps in the road.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, being in college, having all those boxes and trying to get things going. That must have been something.
Yeah.
I mean, it must have been really difficult. Yeah. So you're in San Antonio. What point were you there during COVID, or?
This was after. This was late 2021.
Okay. So you're already in business during COVID though?
Yes.
Okay. Could you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
did you have issues with supply chain and all that?
I actually, during COVID, my business blew up.
Oh, really?
So I ended up starting a TikTok page, actually.
Really?
And I posted a video about starting my business, and it got 5 million views about how I started my business, and it blew up. My Instagram following just blew up. I was receiving thousands of messages a day, and that's kind of where it all started for me. And a few months later, I went off to college, but during COVID, I really didn't have many supply issues. Everything was coming out of California for me. So everything was being produced there, and I really didn't have an issue. And I did have a lot more orders coming in, so that was a little difficult to navigate at the beginning after really not having anything like that up until then. But yeah, just having that whole thing blow up was really big for me, and really my
COVID.
business. Yeah.
That for us as well. We had our hugest year ever during COVID. Obviously, because people are they were buying online like crazy. Do you just do organic marketing? Do you do any kind of paid marketing?
I do Instagram paid ads.
Oh, do you? How's that work for you?
It works really good. I figured out the algorithm and what type of paid ads work for me. I also do paid influencing.
Oh, yeah.
It's been really beneficial.
That's really cool. You want to talk a little bit about that? Do you work with, what kind of influencers do you work with? Are you like at nano or bigger?
I do small.
Oh, do you?
I've noticed content comes faster, all of that. I work easily with those. I don't like going through agents. It's a lot more difficult on my end. So, and my biggest thing is I want to form relationships with these people. I try to become best friends with all my customers. I want to build that client business connection. So I think that's something I've built so many relationships. I'm really good friends with all these people who now market for my business. So I think that's been something that's contributed to my
That's really, really cool. So, do you what's the largest followers that, like, if you have an influencer, do you have like a cap of how big they can be? Before you're like, I don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah, I work with ones who have less than 100,000 followers, but I tend to stick with like the 40 to 50,000.
Really?
Yeah.
That's still pretty good.
Lower,
yeah. And just, how'd you do that? You just outreach to them, or?
They'll usually reach out to me.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Really?
I get a lot of reach out to me.
That's really cool. So how do you compensate them? Is it through commissions or?
It's through commission, and we do monthly packages, monthly PR boxes that are sent out to them. But yeah, it's mostly.
Wow, that's really cool. And so how about your organic stuff right now? How's that working for you? Do you do It still does well, even with algorithm changes to Instagram and all that.
Yeah, we've had a few posts pop up on the Explore page, which that's when your posts get out there is when they're popping up high up on the Explore page. So that's been really exciting.
That's really cool.
High up there.
Is it mostly Instagram, or are you also working with TikTok influencers?
TikTok's been really, really good as far as organically bringing people in. TikTok is pushing my content a lot more than Instagram right now. So I've been generating a lot from there lately.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And so what would you say to someone, maybe a little younger than you or around your age that's thinking about starting online business? What advice would you have for that person?
Right now? I would have a lot, but if I were to tell someone one thing, I would say if you really want something, be willing to go into it fully. Because I feel like a lot of people going into business, especially me, I was really intimidating. And at the beginning, I didn't go in 100%. And that's like my regret is I wish I wasn't as like nervous, as scared, as intimidated. I wish I had gone in there like fully confident. Because I think as I've learned that throughout the years, that's been really what has brought me so much success in my mindset. So I think if you're able to start out with a strong mindset and have the mindset that you're going to be successful, that's what's going to happen for you.
Yeah. So that's great advice. I agree. I think the main thing, I like what you said, going all in. It's just kind of, funny to hear you say, I would like you have regrets, but you're 20 years old, right? It's like you're still so young and doing so great with it. But even still, it's good for you to reflect back and think about your journey. What current challenges do you have with your business right now?
I feel like my current challenge, I know it's definitely hard taking on college and then taking on a business, and I'm doing multiple other things. So I don't know, consistency is definitely a thing for me, and mindset, always like going into it with a positive mindset, because I feel like I have those days where it's just a struggle and I'm not feeling it that day. So I think mindset is something I'm really, really trying to work on, because that's what's really helped me in the past.
That's awesome. Do you mind sharing some strategies that you use for mindset? What do you do?
So something that's really big for me is journaling. Really? And what I do every single day or every single week and the start of the year, what I'll do is I'll get out a blank piece of paper and write down like something that I want to happen, but in the present or in the future. So it's already happened. So, for example, last March, I did 30,000 in sales last March.
Wow.
And 3 weeks prior to that, I had written down in my journal, I will do 30,000 in sales.
Wow. That's incredible.
It happened. So, writing down stuff, it's scary how real it can become big, but writing things down, like you've already gotten it.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of visualization, that kind of thing too? Meditation?
Everything. That's something I'm very much into.
Is there someone now that you aspire to, like an entrepreneur or a business person that you aspire to be like, or that you follow closely?
I really have always been in love with Sarah Blakely's story.
Oh, yeah.
I've always looked up to her. She's all over my vision board. I watch her videos daily. You
hear that, singer? We're going to tag you on this. Need to meet that's awesome. Side note, I was on Instagram. I guess it's her anniversary today. I don't know if you saw that.
I did.
So yeah, she's amazing. Yeah. Have you heard her story at all? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of similar to yours in a way, where she didn't have a background. She wanted to do it, and she just found a way to get out there and do it. So so how can people find out more about you and Mailbu Skyye? Tell us where we can find you.
Over on my Instagram, I have all my information. It's Tia_Shabestari. You can find everything about me there, as well as on my business page, on my website. All that can be found there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tia. We really enjoyed having you today. I just want to say I'm just super impressed with the journey. When I was 15, I think I worked at Arctic Circle, so it just goes to show you. I mean, it's just incredible what you've done. I think you're going to inspire a lot of young women to follow that same path. I think you're amazing. So thanks again for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. And guys, if you want more content like this, make sure you like, and subscribe to our channel. We'll have more awesome stories like Tia's. And let us know in the comments, is there a business that you want to start? Hopefully it's a print-on-demand business, but let us know what your thoughts are on e-commerce and how your journey is going. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Ecom Life Podcast. Ecom Life Podcast is produced by Quadra. Monetize your creativity with Quadra, an e-commerce platform created by sellers for sellers. To learn more, visit goquadra.com. We appreciate your time and hope today's episode has enriched your understanding of the online business world. If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to stay up to date with the latest trends, strategies, and success stories, please consider subscribing to the podcast and following us on social media at Ecom Life Podcast.